CEO at GitHub, and it's going to be a very interesting thing to see how they're going to reach 1 billion developers, and hopefully you be one of them, or probably you are already. I mean, who's not using GitHub here? All right, cool. I'll show you an account later. Okay. Without further ado, Demetrius Chatham, please.
I was trying to peep around to see who wasn't using GitHub, but I couldn't sneak and see, so I won't ask again. Hello, Berlin! Hello, WeAreDevelopers World Congress. Am I the only one standing in between you all and beer or apple wine or your favorite non-alcoholic beverage? Does that even exist here in Germany? But anyway, I don't want to be up here by myself. Hey, Copilot, bring me Thomas.
Hello, WeAreDevelopers. Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to join you today, and I can feel the energy all the way over here on the US West Coast. And being back with WeAreDevelopers gives me major nostalgia. You know, 2 years ago, I was on the stage where Demetrius is right now in my first major keynote as GitHub CEO. It was our conference debut of GitHub Copilot. And you know what? The demo failed, and then it came back to life. The crewman on stage, everybody in the audience was cheering. And shortly after that, we shipped the general availability, and all for the sake of developer happiness. And now it's 2024, and GitHub Copilot has become the most widely adopted AI developer tool on earth and has transformed our way of building software from auto completions to chat to agents, and now our new developer environment, Copilot Workspace. And as I said then, and I believe even more now, we're not building the technology just for the sake of technology itself. We're building it with a higher purpose. With AI tools and the power of natural language, we believe we can empower 1 billion humans to become developers by the year 2030. But that won't be handed to us automatically, and that's why Demetrius is here on stage today. She will lay out our vision of how we can use the most powerful technology of our lifetimes. I truly believe that it's the most powerful technology ever since I've become a developer over 30 years ago back in Berlin. Demetrius will talk about that. She will talk about what we need to do as a developer coalition to enable a world where anyone can build with code. Let the floodgates of nerditude swing wide open. Demetrius, back over to you.
Awesome. Copilot, send Thomas away and play the video, please.
Since the start of software, when Ada Lovelace coded her first program, we've been learning from each other and with each other, developing software that transforms the world. With every line of code, every commit, every contribution, we've built a future worthy of science fiction. Software, built by you, creates more opportunity, harnessing imagination and expanding it exponentially. We create together, evolving open source, transforming the way we work, enhancing everything around us. This doesn't happen overnight. Today, we're looking at the birth of a new age for developers. From Hello World
Touchdown confirmed
to Hello Mars. Together, we'll build stronger security, smarter ethical AI, and a community without boundaries, across the world or inside your organization. Imagine what we can do tomorrow.
So So Thomas said that he couldn't dare let me come all the way here to WeAreDevelopers without him making some type of appearance. He actually loves this conference. But let me ask you all something. How many of you have had a boss that have gave you something to work on or given you a goal and you're like, what the fuck? I see some hands. If your boss is sitting next to you, raise the other hand. So when Thomas came to us last December and said, we are going to empower 1 billion developers on this planet, all of us looked at him and had that thought, what the fuck is he talking about, in the back of our heads? First, there was complete silence. Then there was skepticism. We're like, dude, you're talking about 10% of the world's current population. But then after we started talking through it, we all started to get excited. So much excitement around our aspiration to 1 billion developers internally at GitHub and across the entire open source ecosystem. We are only limited by our imagination when we have an aspiration that high. And so if any of you have had the chance to catch Thomas's recent TED Talk, you'll know that his aspiration is fueled by Legos. He loves Legos, buys them everywhere we go and plays with them all day, every day. But I have a little secret for you. Thomas's imagination is fueled by something else as well. The Marvel Universe. He loves it. How many of you know Tony Stark's an Iron Man? Absolutely. Even more importantly, how many of you know his handy AI butler and personal assistant, Jarvis? Right, Jarvis is always in his ear, running all of Stark's buildings, as well as he powers up the Iron Man suit. He is the driving force, or the co-pilot, if you will, to Tony Stark's and Iron Man. So now imagine this world if we had 1 billion people on this planet that has their own Jarvis or their own AI personal assistant. Imagine the power of open source communities, how much more collaborative we would be, connected we would be, accessible, inclusive, all of the amazing things, but just much more exponentially. You will have all sorts of barriers that will be lowered. I think about my 13-year-old daughter. Speaking of which, she's supposed to be here in this audience right now listening to her mom, but she thought it would be cooler to go down to Velton's Arena and listen to Taylor Swift for some reason. So that's where she is, but I'm just gonna shake it off right now, right? But imagine my 13-year-old daughter and my 72-year-old mom. They have this shared passion for gardening. Imagine if we make it so much easier for my 72-year-old technically challenged mom to co-create an app with my daughter so that she's able to provide advice to her, real time, in perpetuity for decades to come, to help her with their shared passion of gardening. Imagine that German-speaking contributor working with a Hindi-speaking maintainer to create a project that's used in Nigeria that's founded by an open source project in Brazil, or an open source startup. They're able to seamlessly and effortlessly do this without any barriers to language. That's the beautiful thing that we're talking about. 1 billion, that's a big ass number though, right? Again, that's 10% of every person on this planet right now. Seriously, if that goal doesn't scare you or your heart doesn't start beating a little faster, let me know, because perhaps the goal isn't high enough. But don't tell Thomas that. Come and talk to me first, because I don't need for him to give me a $2 billion goal next week. But we're excited because we get to reach this goal our way, the GitHub way. More importantly, the open source way. One that's built on trust, it's built on collaboration, and more importantly, it's built with all of you. That's right, it starts in this room with developers. We cannot reach 1 billion developers without developers. And there's no better time for us to do this than in the age of AI. Actually, as Thomas mentioned, we've already started. We started almost 2 years ago with GitHub Copilot. That's the autocomplete tool that understands developer intent, that helps you with those helpful suggestions, that keeps you in the flow and in developer happiness even longer. Yeah, he said, I don't know if you caught it, when he was up here 2 years ago, the demo failed. It failed miserably, right? But no worries, he went back, they kept tinkering, and now it works. It works wonderfully because we are now, GitHub Copilot, the most widely adopted developer tool on the planet right now. And we didn't stop there. A year later, we launched GitHub Chat, Copilot Chat, revolutionizing the use of natural language in computer programming, where you enter your preferred text in the language of your choice into the chat box, and it returns the code, or it returns suggestions or helpful tips to you in your preferred language of choice. No longer will English have to be the dominant language of software development. That means we are well on our way to making code universally acceptable by all. The rippling effects of these innovations can't be understated. Almost overnight, it is easier than any time in human history for someone with their own device and their own human language to build code. This is arguably the greatest breakthrough in computer programming since the invention and the creation of the internet. So we talked about Marvel, that's Thomas's jam. But here's one of my favorites. How many of you remember that movie Ratatouille? If you got kids, you probably do. If you don't get kids, you're probably like me. We just love the movie. But it's about this rat that's in Paris who has big dreams of becoming a chef. But the whole thought behind that movie is that anyone can become a chef. Well, I want to put my own little spin on it. With AI and tools like GitHub Copilot, we are entering a world where anyone can code, even a Parisian rat. Just kidding, I hope. I don't want any rats coding, I don't think. But while AI is an essential part of the road ahead and those tools, they aren't a panacea for everything. Anybody that's worked with AI, even GitHub Copilot, you know it does not solve everything. Yes, they break down barriers to entry and shrink the amount spent on mundane work, but we actually named it Copilot for a reason. It's meant to augment, to help. It is not meant to replace developers, period. We need more developers. We need more of you. The human developer cannot be replaced. It can be helped. We can be helped with AI tools, but we cannot be replaced. It is your force with the help of AI tools that will get us there. But where's there? Exactly. There is our 1 billion developer aspiration. That's the road that we're taking. That's the goal. And today, buckle your safety belts. Get in the passenger seat with me as we navigate the lanes of learning, collaboration, and acceleration on that road to 1 billion developers. So let's start with learning. Learning is actually where I see the biggest exponential impact. But I'm reminded of this quote by Winston Churchill. And the quote says, "I am always ready to learn, although I do not always like being taught." In my own words, I love learning. But the way that some people try to teach things, they make it too hard and it completely sucks and makes me not want to learn again. That's Demetrius's version of Winston Churchill's quote. But I wonder if I'm the only computer science student that feels this way. Probably not. But with AI, we have the power to change that thought with so many people. From students just getting started to longtime contributors who are making their journey to maintainers, to many of you developer veterans that are in the audience today who are always learning, upskilling, learning new skills to keep you relevant, to keep you on the cutting edge of technology. This can have an impact on all of us. AI is already revolutionizing the way that people learn and the way that it's being taught. We are seeing professors now, for any of you that's gone through university, for all of you, where you remember you had an assignment and no matter how great you were in a language, you were stuck having to do your assignment in the language that the professor chose. Now, since we've introduced GitHub Copilot and AI tools, we're hearing stories of professors now that are no longer limiting students to using the coding language of their choice. Students in the same class now are completing the same assignment with dozens of different languages. We are now entering into a world where professors are now thinking differently about how they teach. They are teaching students how to be the important systems thinkers, not syntax tinkerers. I'm just thinking about how having a tool like GitHub Copilot or any AI tool would have helped me in my many, many hours with my friends late at night in a computer lab looking for a damn missing semicolon. How many of you has the dreadful missing semicolon stories? Like every developer has that. That's no longer the case anymore. I relish the day when we can say death to the missing semicolon or the curly brackets as I see here on the stage. To be clear, I'm talking about students. But we all know you do not have to be a student in order to be a developer. You don't have to go to college. We need people that have gone through boot camps, that are self-taught, that are in their second or third career, that are retirees. We need all of them to be on this road and on this journey to 1 billion developers with us. We have to reimagine education altogether, even where a kid in kindergarten can learn to code. Think about it, right? Kids are kind of born learning to code a little bit from playing with your iPads, your cell phones, or even programming games like Minecraft. They are already learning how to collaborate, to create, and to innovate in ways that we couldn't even imagine when I was born decades ago. And many around the world already recognize them. There are 30 countries right now that mandate students as early as ages 6 and 7, they are required to take development courses, computer programming courses, all the way until they graduate to high school. It's going to catch on, and it's going to be more and more of that. I think about Thomas. He has 2 kids, 2 boys, and they're always bugging him, no pun intended, to fix the Python bugs from their code that they use for their schoolwork. He actually had the amazing idea a few months ago to buy GitHub Copilot for them. And he says they have not interrupted his important meeting with their Python code bugs since then. I think about my 13-year-old daughter who took her first programming class 2 years ago. She was only one of 2 girls in that entire class. And the thing that I had to work with her the most on was not coding, but actually feeling comfortable enough to raise her hand for assistance in this class full of boys. I'm thinking about all those middle school girls that now will have their own personal assistant and do not have to deal with that imposter syndrome or deal with being afraid to raise their hand. There was some good that came out of that trauma because that best friend, that little girl that was in the class with her, became her best friend, and they're both at Velton's Arena right now watching Taylor Swift. But your dad shouldn't have to be the CEO of GitHub or your mom the chief of staff to the CEO of GitHub for you to have access to these AI tools if you so choose to become a developer. We want it so that every person, every young person in this world, on this planet, if they want to learn to code, that they have the tools available at their fingertips to do so. Remember I talked about that skepticism that we had at GitHub, but we talked it through? We were really pushing on Thomas, saying that's 10% of the world's population. And he said, or you can look at it, it's 50% of every person under the age of 18. He said we have to start earlier, and we have to start with those that we do not think about as developers. That's the road that we're on. where every child can learn to think like a developer. So lane 1, we have to reimagine learning. But lane 2, we have to maximize collaboration. It's like driving on the Autobahn, which I had the pleasure of riding, not driving yet, on the Autobahn back in January. There's a famous proverb that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I'm here to tell you that I want to go farther. GitHub wants to go farther, and we cannot do it unless we're in collaboration with all of you. And we have the opportunity to do that. Maximize collaboration in this age of AI. Collaboration is that engine, or that vroom vroom, so to speak, that will drive us on this road to 1 billion developers. Not just collaborations between human and machines, but humans to humans, projects to projects, organization to organization, industry to industry. That collaboration, it's not new to us. It's the foundation of open source. We know how to do this, everyone, where we can have a global network of developers collaborating across oceans, crossing borders. Today, we are approaching a world in which the only skill that you will need to code is the human language. I just heard someone say it on their talk. We are looking at the no-code, low-code people, how to teach them how to code. Suddenly, in addition to Python, Rust, and Java, or even the languages that I mentioned above, you're going to have people that speak in French, Portuguese, Hindi, German, everyone, any human language on this earth will be able to transform their human language into code. Children all over the world, whether they're in Cairo, Santiago, Brazil, Taipei, Rabat, they will not have to learn English before they can start learning how to code. Children here in Berlin, in Germany, will not have to learn English first before they learn how to code. Folks, this is the moment. This is the moment of our lifetime. And it's not just about geographic diversity. I'm talking about swaths of people in communities all over the world, towns all over the world, organizations. They are going to be able to contribute to open source for the first time ever. It's something that I always say. Normal-ass people with normal-ass jobs are going to be able to learn how to code without having to learn our very hard technical jargon. But in order to welcome them, we have to first firm up our open source communities. We have to make sure that we are developing projects where people are excited to participate. We also have to make sure that we are maintaining inclusive environments where people feel welcome so that when they come to participate, they want to say. That's the vision. And if we can't do that, the vision falls apart. I look to so many of you here in the audience, especially our GitHub stars. You all are the ones that are going to embody collaboration day by day. And we have some examples of organizations that are doing it here in Germany, from the incredible influence of Mastodon, a German-founded company that takes open source approach to the social media space, or the rocket ship rise of Formbricks, one of our inaugural GitHub accelerator companies that is also based here in Germany, that started the largest open source survey stack on the planet Earth. These are just two examples of folks or organizations that embody collaboration. And speaking of accelerator, this brings me to lane 3. I maybe should have used the Autobahn example for this, as a matter of fact. But as we can't drive super slow on the Autobahn, we cannot continue to collaborate or work in silos in open source. That's the slowest path possible. As developers, we each have to level up. We have to speed up. We have to scale our impact out, and we have to accelerate. Push into overdrive, constructing the lanes, the tolls, the bridges, the roads that will lead to 1 billion developers. Part of this applies to everyday maintainers. We've done so many studies, and we've realized that maintainer burnout, it is real, y'all. Over half of maintainers said that they are leaving open source because they feel burnout. So we all hear that mantra that our employees are saying, you have to do more with less, you have to do more with less. We can only do more with less if we are given the tools that allows us to do so. We can't continue pushing our maintainers out. And we need tools like GitHub Copilot, which we have studies that developers say they are 55% more faster. 75% says that they are able to focus on the work that energizes them rather than the mundane tasks. And it's those newer developers that are reporting the highest productivity gains. But individual developers are just the beginning. Just like in Formula One, where you need a pit crew to stabilize the car, change the tires, make adjustments to the aerodynamics, and safely release the car, you need to have someone, a pit crew, an AI pit crew, that is on the side of the road to 1 billion. That's keeping tabs on the many needs of the community, the open source community, from fielding incoming bug reports, evaluating PRs, keeping up with discussion boards, listening to complaints or helpful suggestions, depending on how you look at it. We need Copilot to direct us when the road gets tough. And that's why I'm excited about the German government's Sovereign Tech Fund, which is a $10 million investment into open source community and open source infrastructure. I had the pleasure of listening to Ariana, the co-founder, last week at the United Nations, and we need more of this development and this type of investment across many countries around the world. So we're on the right track. This is about coming together around these big, audacious goals. I invite all of you to take the advice from my mentor. Well done, but we're not done yet. We need every single person in this seat, no matter who you are, or where you create. We need you on this road to 1 billion developers for us. And so I invite you, join us. Let's build from here. Thank you.
No, you got questions?
Sure, questions.
I answered them, but that might be not the answer that you wanted, so that's all good. Wir kommen nach vorne in die Mitte. We got in the middle because the lighting is better.
It gets your good side in the middle?
Don't have a bad side. What are you talking about? Yeah, I was thinking you were going developers at one moment, but luckily you did not. So that's good. So one question is, what's a developer? Do I have to understand the code that Copilot creates to be a developer? If I use no-code tools like website creators to create something, am I still a developer?
Absolutely, you are a developer. That's an age-old debate in the open source community and the developer community. What is a developer? And before the advent of AI, you're right, you had to understand the code. You had to understand the syntax. And what we're saying now is that with AI and AI tools like GitHub Copilot, anyone, the low-code, no-code folks, now with their human language will be able to be a developer as well, just like my 72-year-old technically challenged mom.
If you want to enable 50% of the kids to develop, you could say half, that's easier. How will you make Copilot and other tools affordable to them?
You have to make all of them, which is why Copilot is available for free to every student around the world. You just have to have your student ID and everything, and we are working on making sure that even those students that are in school systems where they might not have a student ID, under those H, they'll be able to have free access to it as well. So you have to make it available, otherwise it falls short.
Excellent. Well, these are all the questions we had. And the other one was, what are these 1 billion developers actually going to do?
Oh, we're going to innovate and create. Like, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to talk to a kid now and all of the amazing ideas that run through their heads. Imagine now they're given the tools to actually make those ideas and creativity come to life. We're only limited by our imagination. So I can't wait to see, once we reach this goal, all the things that's going to be possible.
Cool. You know why dark mode is better than light mode?
You did what?
You know why dark mode is better than light mode?
You tell me.
Light mode attracts bugs.
Ah! I see what you did there. Love it.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, everyone.
All right, that's me literally done. I'm very happy that you were all here. Again, thanks to all the sponsors. Thanks for everybody who made that happen. Thanks to all the speakers we had today and the people who helped me on stage with the fireside chats. Now get the hell out of this room because all these chairs have to go. Don't take the chairs with you. Somebody else will do that. And then come back here in an hour to see COPE 100. And in between, go outside, meet people, talk to people, be nice to people. That's what we need to do. See you back here at 7 for COPE 100 and then tomorrow.